Hey man, what's up? Did you see that there's a new H1 case? But you like just got this case. Why do you need another? Well, yeah, but this one has like it's a little bit taller and it has a fan at the top to get rid of more heat. I mean, it's only $400. So you're gonna spend an extra $400 because the new case has room for a graphics card you can't even get, and it has a small fan in the back. Well, what else am I gonna do? What do you suggest? Well, I don't know. Maybe put your own fan in there. Oh, that's right. Man, you're so smart. What would I do without you? You wouldn't even exist.
Look, as corny as that was, the message stands. If you already have an NZXT H1 case and you're considering buying a new H1 case that costs $400, which is about twice as much as the other one at the moment, even like post recall, right? You might change your mind after this, because while the new case has a fan, is a little bit taller, it might be a bit better for heat management. Well, I'm about to show you can save you $400 if that's your concern. So stick around and find out. Okay, so to understand what we need to do to achieve these similar results, we need to take a look at the revamped H1 V2. If we take a look right here, we see that it's pretty much the same thing, right? In essence, it is, right? And that's what they're going for. They didn't want to change it because it's an iconic look, much as the Corsair 1 is for Corsair. They don't want to change it too much. You just want to improve upon it, right? So they made it slightly taller to fit more types of graphics cards, right? And they also, it looks like they widened it maybe a tad bit, put a notch in the back where there was a solid piece of metal separating the two halves of the PC, a larger power supply, and obviously there is that fan right there. That fan is like a big point of theirs, saying like, hey, we see the issue. The original H1 has some heat issues. There's no doubt about that because there's no actual case exhaust fan. How do you fix that? Put one in there, right? If we look at the original H1 right here, which is of course what I have the post recall version, right? So they recalled them, discontinued them for a time, and then re-released them once they got the riser issue over. So there's not that fire hazard. What's the difference? You see here, it's a solid beam. And that solid beam is where we get into issues. Because clearly you can't fit a standard fan in this case. This is what, that's a dark background. Here's my face. This is what a standard size fan looks like. If you can't tell, that's not gonna fit in there. I mean, technically it would if there's nothing else in the way. The new version, they can fit a regular fan in there because they designed it as such, but the original one, you can't. So what can we do? Well, luckily, some people online have already found that out for us, so we don't have to fuck around and find out. Lucky for us, instead of spending $400 for a fan and fan cutout, we get to pay $13 per fan for ones that will actually fit in there without a problem. And guess what? You don't even need that many fans to see a difference. Spoiler alert. I'm gonna test 1, 2, and 3 fans in different configurations in our build. But where are we going to put these fans, you may ask? Well, we're going to put our fans right here, right in this top area where the graphics card stays on that side, right? Because that's where all the heat tends to rise. Because if you know anything about heat, it likes to do that. And that's why it had issues, because the heat was rising up and it pocketed there and it wasn't expelling any of that heat out of the case. So you got some thermal issues. Me, I used to have a regular PC case, as many people do, but I liked blower cards because I don't like all that hot air standing in my case for all the other components. So what does that blower card do? That blower card, what it does is it has one single fan on it, right? And it like sucks in air in that fan. And then there's a closed chamber that goes down, and then it blows that air through it and out the back, out of your case. Some people don't like these. I personally, I like them. I really do for a regular case. However, because I've only had these blower style cards really for any sort of modern graphics card, such as my 2030 Super, that's the only card that I have in my case. Now, there's something to notice about the NZXT H1. The graphics card, it's standing up, right? It's not sideways. It's vertical. It's not horizontal. And it doesn't plug in from the top. So that means it only has one other way to go. Out the bottom. Which is a very bad thing in a closed compartment like that, because the air, that hot air, gets blown through out the bottom and gets stuck there. If you ramp the fans up all the way, it can help get rid of it, but that's super annoying and nobody wants that. So what happens? That hot air gets stuck there and continues to rise. So not only is it like trapping 80 Celsius of air, that's like 100 and what, like 140 something degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know. I'm not European. All I know is what my computer tells me of what Celsius is. So it's bad news. So we want to get rid of that hot air, right? So that's why we're doing this. So for my specific case, it may not show the best results since the hot air isn't stuck at the top per se. It's stuck at the bottom, but we're going to play around with that and try to figure it out too. So let's take a quick look at what we did here.
What we got here to work with this, we have 3 Noctua NFA4X fans. These are tiny 40 millimeter by 10 millimeter fans. Because for a tiny case, we need some tiny fans. We're also going to need some double-sided tape and this fancy dancy little bracket right here that is 3D printed. I don't have a 3D printer of my own, but this was like $5 from some seller on Etsy that I will link down in the description. You're gonna need one of these because they're gonna go in there, mount like so in the proper ways. Bam, there we go. All of them rubber except one. So next up, we need to get her open. Now, what I've done already in preparation for the video, I've already connected the fan pinouts, right? So if you're doing this, I hope you already know enough about computers, especially if you've built an H1 PC, you should know where things plug in. In this case, there was a fan header on the other side of the case in which I ran this splitter here. So all these fans will be controlled by the same header, right? So that's what's going to end up happening. Now what we have to do first, for that, we have to make sure it will fit, and bam, look at that. Look at that. That is perfect. It's almost like the people who made this knew what they were doing. So what it's going to do is it's going to take all the hot air from the top and blow it out. Actually, that would be pretty cool. Hold on, are we about to change the entire concept of this video? Huh. You know?
Now right here is where things start to take a bit of a turn for content. I was explaining the blower card and how it works, as I did for you fine folks just a couple minutes ago, and there I am stroking the card apparently for some reason, but I started to realize, hey, the heat comes out of the bottom, and it gets trapped in the bottom, and we don't really have an issue with the heat at the top. It all gets stuck at the bottom. So what if, instead of putting the fans at the top, where they may have minimal results for our specific situation, we put the fans right on the bottom? Now, typically, it's bad practice to exhaust from the bottom. You want the air to come in from the front and bottom and leave out the back and top, because that's sort of the way the air wants to go. But here, since it's all gets trapped there, that would have been a good place to put it. And to my surprise, it actually fit. But there were issues. There's lots of issues actually trying to get it all properly to fit. So I never actually did full 3 fans at the bottom. What I did end up doing in configurations was, so I didn't end up running the full 3 at the bottom configuration because there were some issues with getting the wires through, getting it to close, as it wasn't designed for that, really, and neither was this little mounting bracket or whatever. So what I ended up doing is I did 2 fans up at top where the bracket's supposed to go, and I'll have all the numbers on screen for you right here for all these. So here's the baseline here at the top left, right? Here's the baseline temps for running in the 3D Mark benchmark software. Here is the temps right next to it. It'll be right there, right next to it, for the next test, which is the 2 fans only. And then here's the results for with the 2 fans, and I found another special place for the 3rd fan. I did have the 3rd fan initially where you saw it in the video, like on the side blowing out that way, but the issues with that is that it was blowing the hot air through the metal grate, which is the same grate that the graphics card was pulling air through in the first place. So as that grate heated up, it began to suck in hot air, not to mention just it blowing out the hot air and then it rising and immediately cycling back through the graphics card. It's not a good time. So what I did was I found a spot. Actually, I forgot about this. I found a spot behind, on the back side, right? You know, it should exhaust in the back, which is good because the graphics card intakes through the side. So it's exhausting through the back at the bottom. So it's sucking all that hot air out of the bottom and blowing it out the back, which is fine because nothing gets sucked in through the back because all the heat should always be expelled through the back. But there is a trick to that. It did not want to fit. So Noctua, I am sorry, but I brought a Dremel to your fans to make them fit. I don't know if I should be saying sorry, I purchased them. I should be saying you're welcome. You're welcome, Noctua. I bought 3 of your fans and I dremeled one of them for these results right here. After doing that and running the different configurations, there is actually minimal impact for my specific situation. However, looking online, doing a lot of research about this and seeing who else had these similar ideas and used these same sort of methods, you know, short of like just zip tying a bunch of those regular size 140 millimeter fans to the back of the case and actually, you know, keeping everything inside. On average, most people have been seeing an improvement of 10 to 11 Celsius when running the 3 exhaust fans at the top, or I think 7 or 8 if you're only running 1 at the top. In my case, I saw an average drop of about 2 to 3 Celsius on my configuration, but that's because I have a blower card and I am a little unicorn who has special situations, special circumstances going on that's working against me. But there was an improvement. Now keep in mind, your mileage may vary if you try this yourself, but it is an inexpensive way to improve your setup in the same way that the new NZXT H1 V2 is doing, and you don't have to spend $400. This specific project isn't going to help you fit a larger graphics card in there, and I am sorry. Most people right now can't find graphics cards to begin with because of the chip shortage and scalpers and blah 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 blah. So if you're running into these issues and you just want better performance for what you already have, save your money. You don't need to spend $400. Spend maybe $60 on 3 fans, the bracket, which was like $5 on Etsy, or I'm sure there's 3D print files available out there if you're one of those fortunate souls that have a 3D printer laying around. Some double-sided Gorilla Tape. It's that it really is that easy. Now, I don't have any hate towards NZXT for charging $400 for their new case when this one, I think, even like brand new when it first came out, was like $300. None at all. It's still a fantastic deal when you consider that within the case you're also getting the power supply, an all-in-one liquid cooler, all in a form factor that can quite frankly sit on a compact desk or not look really out of place on an entertainment stand. It's a good deal, and your mileage may vary, but I hope this has at least shown some light to you that there are other options if that's what you're looking for. And if I helped you out, or I taught you something that you didn't know, please like, comment, subscribe, you know, all that good stuff that I have to say. This is a bit different of a video than I've been posting usually, but that's all right because I want to expand the content of this channel to stuff that I like talking about. If you like hearing me info dump about random things, or if you like to watch people play video games, this is the channel for you. So I hope each and every one of you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic week. I'll catch you later.